is 2:00. I will call to order the September 20th of 2022 meeting of the Development Waiver Review Committee. My name is Ann Lippman, and I am the Community Development Director and Chairperson of this committee. At this time, if anyone in the audience would turn off any audible devices, we would greatly appreciate that. And anyone not in the audience can turn off their audible devices. I introduced myself. I will let the other members of this body turn on their microphones and introduce themselves, and we will get started.
I'm Jason Phillips. I'm the county attorney, not a voting member.
Lori Ashmore, Director of Paulding Water.
George Jones, Director, Paulding County Department of Transportation.
Thank you all. Our first item on the agenda today is a review of minutes from the August 16th, 2022 meeting. If everyone has had a chance to review those and if there are no changes, I will entertain a motion on those.
Motion to accept.
Okay, we have a motion to accept from Mr. Jones and a second by Ms. Ashmore. Are there any questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Would be a nay. There are none, so the minutes are approved by a unanimous 3-0 vote. We are missing 2 members of our committee today, but we do have a quorum. Our agenda item is case number 2022-16-W, application by Dane Frey, requesting to waive the requirement to extend the public sewer line and thus allow the installation of a new septic system for the proposed development of Caliber Collision. Property is located in land lot 615, District 2, Section 3, located along the intersection of Depot Drive and Rosedale Drive at 331 Rosedale Drive, and this is located in Commission Post 3. Is the applicant present? Okay. If one of you would like to come up and present your case, and please address all comments to me.
Oh, sure. Were we going to be able to show the site plan on the screen, or you guys have it in front of you?
We have it in front of us.
Oh, you do? Okay, perfect. Let me sign in. Yes, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
And we do have, we can see it, but our tech team has turned on.
That's okay.
You could
okay.
put if you wanted to project it, you can, well, now it's gone.
From this? Oh.
No, from, it's a camera.
Oh, okay. Nice. Like an old school projector. Where's my vis-a-vis? All right, let's see. Oh, it's over here. Somewhere over here. Oh my goodness, okay. Okay, well, and again, you guys have it, so. All right. Good afternoon. My name is Melanie Bagley. I am here representing Victory Development regarding the subject property. Dane Frey, as noted on the application, is also here with me, and he's a civil engineer of record. He can answer any technical questions that you may have. As noted on the application, I'm here before you today to respectfully request that the county would allow for the installation of a septic tank for the development of the Caliber Collision. The Caliber Collision is, in terms of development and being ready to develop, is imminent. We would love to be under construction on this yesterday if we could, and just like everybody else, ready to get in line for our permits and anything else that entails to get this out of the ground. In coming into the project, and for the reason that I'm here, the zoning ordinance states that a private sanitary sewer or sewer connection is required for all new development. And so what I'd like to do is try to make a case for why we are requesting the septic, and then if possible list maybe a couple of thoughts I had for some terms or conditions that maybe we could discuss and potentially agree to that might make the county feel comfortable about moving forward with allowing us to have septic, at least in the early stages of this development and the operation of the Caliber Collision. Right out of the gate, and I know in talking and with Lori, who's been great, by the way, and lovely to work with, there are private manholes available for tie-in. There's no doubt. They're available per the maps that we have and from previous due diligence. They're available behind Home Depot and they're available behind Sam's Club. And I'm going to start with those two first. Those two manholes currently do not have a public utility easement from that would be that are available at the public right-of-way and onto the property. What is the problem with that? It's pretty obvious. I'm sure you all are aware. We have to go to either Home Depot or Walmart in order to get a third-party agreement requested and approved. In my experience, in my current experience with Walmart right now and trying to get a third-party agreement in place, Walmart has just changed their whole development structure, and getting anything, if we can get anything agreed to with them, it's how much is this going to, what are you willing to pay, and is it even going to happen? So it's a struggle in and of itself, and the same could be said for Home Depot, and it's not a guarantee that they will say yes. So while it is an option, it's something that could have a very long lead time, and again is not a guarantee. In talking with Lori the other day, she did provide me with some sanitary maps that show another manhole just up the road in Depot Drive. And I don't know if you all are able to access those maps, but that manhole is roughly about 1,200 linear feet away. So when I received that information, I looked at that with Dane at Bowman Engineering, and I said, okay, what's the viability of this connection? Being that it's 1,200 linear feet away, we look at, okay, well, how much fall do we need? Well, we need a ratio of 1 foot of fall per 100 linear feet. I think from your maps, there's roughly 10 feet of fall overall from where our property is to that manhole, which means it's not necessarily sufficient in terms of fall for the design. So that would be a reason we would not want to tie into that manhole that's up Depot Drive and just before the highway. Another reason that we would prefer not to tie into that manhole is that it would require, putting the utility lines under the right-of-way, which I believe there's an ordinance that limits underground utilities being constructed under right-of-way. And so it would require a massive undertaking and potentially have its own limitations based on the location of where we would actually have to install that line. But the biggest item being that it would not have enough fall. The same could be said, there is a manhole down in Seaboard Avenue. There are manholes everywhere, just not in an ideal location. There's a manhole down in Seaboard Avenue. Again, it's roughly 2,000 linear feet away. And its fall, I believe, from the point of our property to that manhole is roughly 19 feet. So again, we're just a little bit shy there. So those are our passionate reasons for not wanting to make that connection in those manholes. Now, if I could make a case for the septic option and then suggest maybe some ideas for food for thought as to what we could do to give the level of comfort that the county would need in order to allow that. First things first, if the county would consider allowing us to have the septic, as shown in our plan, you can see we've already planned for a future manhole down here at note number 155, which you really can't see. Here we go. We would go ahead and build the infrastructure on our site and create this new manhole that would be there for future coordination, connection, what have you. As I understand it, further east, I believe, down Rosedale Drive, there is raw land there for development. I believe while there may not be an application in as yet for residential development in that area, is our understanding that there may be future development there. What I would propose is that the county would give consideration to allowing us to build that manhole and then eventually coordinate with whatever development is down Rosedale Drive, and make that future development, their sewer connection contingent or to be coordinated with our manhole. They would tie into our manhole that we would build. so just food for thought there. The second thing that I would ask the county to maybe consider that would give the level of comfort that you're looking for to ensure that at some point we could do an actual sewer connection, and keep the septic while we wait for this future infrastructure, is that we could bond, a pay in lieu or contribution for, excuse me, future work in Rosedale Drive for whatever that new connection may be. Whether it's 20 linear feet or 200 linear feet, whatever it may be, we could, do a performance bond or whatever it may be that would be 18 to 24 months, or until, and that could be renewed until there was something in place to coordinate and create that future connection. The third thing would be to bond the city's cost. We could either bond the city's cost or just however, it would be determined. The other thing would be, we would certainly be willing to pay, the sanitary sewer connection fees. I know when we make a new connection, sewer connection fees are required. Even though we'd be doing septic, we could still pay into that fund separate and above from a fee in lieu or contribution to the future connection, future county work, separate of the performance bond. We could pay those connection fees now, in anticipation of that future development. My only other thought would, to give a guarantee that we would come back when the land continues to develop around the Caliber collision would be maybe to do an annual permit, something that gets renewed every year for the septic, which allows county staff to revisit the viability of the future sanitary sewer connection, and make a determination based on what applications you have in currently for the development of that raw land, that would either set us up for that future work or would, set it off another 6 months or a year, however much the county felt was appropriate, to be able to bring it to everyone's forefront, once a year. In talking with Lori Ann, I've just wanted to find ways that, we could give assurances that this septic is truly just so that we can get out of the ground, so that we can develop and we can go. And, having to either wait for future infrastructure or rely on having to get third-party approvals is an unknown factor. We're ready to get out of the ground and get under construction. So I'll stop there and let you ask any questions you might have.
Okay. Does anyone on the board have any questions for the applicant? I'll start.
Okay.
Have you reached out to Home Depot or Walmart/Sam's to see what their thoughts would be on granting that third-party agreement to access?
The answer to that, I don't believe that is the case. And the answer to that is usually when we do approach an entity such as Home Depot or Walmart, it's very strategic. Throwing it out there and then letting it lie or not pursuing it may have a negative effect. If it truly were going to be that we had to pursue it, there would probably be a strategy involved for how we would approach that. And at this time, it's not been done.
Okay. Have you reached out to our environmental health to see if the soils are acceptable
That's
for
a good question.
septic tank?
Dane, Dane, would you like him to speak to
if you'd
that?
like to.
Sure.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yes, we did reach out and we did get their team to go out and do a soil evaluation in the area that we desire to put the septic. The report came back pretty good, and they've looked at everything we've proposed so far. So it's feasible with your blessing.
Well, it's really feasible with their blessing, and pretty good doesn't
Right?
exactly give me
Very
the most
generic.
warm and fuzzy feeling. Does George, Lori, do either one of you have any questions?
No, I have more for our conversation.
Okay. Do you have any questions? Okay.
Okay.
You can
Thank
take a
you.
seat. At this point, we will proceed with the public hearing portion, and I'll ask if there is anyone wishing to speak on behalf of this application who hasn't already spoken. And if there is no one wishing to speak on behalf, is there anyone wishing to express opposition, has questions or concerns regarding the application? I don't think there are, so I will close the public hearing portion and see if there are any questions or discussion from the committee members.
Just a couple of things. This property is in the Copper Mine mandatory sewer basin. It is surrounded by other properties that are connected to sewer. There is gravity sewer to the north, to the northeast, and to the south. I appreciate what Melanie has said about their willingness to bond or pay tap fees or some other agreement. But in my many years of experience, there is nothing temporary about a temporary sewer solution. And that I think we need to be conscious that temporary solution could be a permanent one. Putting an island of a septic tank in the middle of our mandatory sewer basin. Those basins aren't set up just, oh, that looks good. We all know the issues with septic tanks in our community and the failure rates of septic tanks in our community. And we have some, it would concern me greatly to add another one in this area that before, rather than digging in with more detail. I know I talked with Melanie yesterday about some of these other options. I would say that I'm not sure anybody's had time to do any detail analysis on that. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you all may have.
Questions? I think I have any questions.
Okay.
Is there rebuttal for?
If they have anything else they want to say in response to that.
Yeah, I'll just, if you have anything you'd like to say in response to what Ms. Ashmore has just stated, please feel free to come back.
I guess to Lori, to your point, if there is, I guess if it would, I don't know if there's a way to, is there a way to table the decision until we have time? I mean,
That's certainly an option. That's one of the
yeah.
options that we have.
Sure. I hate to lose any traction that we may have made. I think the biggest, the other component to, and I know, money is not a hardship, but, in looking at the manhole in Depot Drive, is that something where, the county would consider, if we install all the way up, up that Depot Drive, creating, infrastructure for potential future connections for anybody else, in that area, would the county consider any kind of cost sharing for that? Is that something that could be considered? If we left it as a public line, is that ever something that the county might consider? And that may be something that takes more time.
Yeah, that would take some additional discussion about the public benefit
Okay.
of that line. But our development regs call for sewer to be installed by the development.
Okay. The only other question I had is, I know there is a plan, maybe I think a 5-year plan or something in place for a roundabout at that intersection at Depot Drive and Rosedale. Is that still in the works, and is that something that if we were to install any connections in Seaboard or Depot Drive, where it would then have to be, excuse me, whatever we put in place would then have to be torn up and relocated.
I'll address that.
Okay.
As part of the rezoning for this property, a couple of years back, one of the stipulations was to provide additional right-of-way along Rosedale Drive, and the other stipulation was to set off improvements to accommodate the roundabout concept that we
Okay.
had at that location.
So there is, and would you say it's that time frame out, 5 years? Is it?
I would say it's probably design in 5 years, constructed.
Okay,
I would say it's probably further than that.
okay. And is it true that anything that would be in the vicinity in terms of utilities in that area would be invariably taken out, relocated?
Typically, they're relocated to
Okay.
get out of the road.
Okay. And that is a county cost, right, to relocate those? Because, is that right?
And most of the
Typically.
stuff, because it's on right of way,
Okay.
it's typically the utilities have to do it unless there's some type of prior rights.
Okay,
But obviously, we wouldn't want to approve building plans knowing that
Uh-huh.
you're going to have to take it out
Right.
in the future. You would want to set off those improvements enough so you did not have to.
right, okay, okay. And so you said that design is out 5 years, so we would just be making really, really, really good assumptions as to where those offsets might need to be? Is that fair?
We have a conceptual layout. I
Okay.
believe we've shared it with
Okay.
your engineer, and I believe our
Okay.
staff has shared it with the team, with your
Okay,
team.
okay.
So.
Okay. At that, so, okay, that answers one of my questions. Dane, is there anything else you can think of that I haven't mentioned? Okay. Well, again, I think the impetus behind wanting to do the septic is truly to be under development. I think, I understand the ordinance is in place for a reason. It would be my hope that there would be a world where we could have something in place that would give these assurances. I certainly respect that has not always been the case. I'd love for it to be a situation where we create a sort of coordinated infrastructure for you all for any of that future development to, east of Rosedale. And so maybe, that's really what I would hope, just going forward. I don't think there's any other questions for me, any other asks?
No, I
Okay.
think so.
Okay, thank you.
At this time, would anyone like to make a motion on this case?
I'd like to make a motion to table.
Okay.
And just to clarify, is that to the next Development Waiver Review Committee meeting?
That's what I would propose.
Absolutely
Yes,
then.
to
All
the
right.
October meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Ashmore and a second by Mr. Jones to table until the October meeting. I will call for a vote on that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I think we're unanimous. I think I can count to 3. So our vote is to table this until the October meeting, which we can give you the date of that in a few minutes. It'll be the 3rd Tuesday in October. The 18th, Leah tells me. So October 18th. And at that, there's no other items on our agenda. I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So
Motion to
moved.
adjourn.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.